Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to talk about a new topic, which is a part of innovation, ideation, and prototyping. So that's the Ideate in teams. That's something I'm going to discuss. In the previous episode, I talked about how it's important to set up the right environment so that people can thrive and you can bring up the innovation. Right now, that's all great, and and as I discussed, let's say um, you as a CEO, right, decide to take your team for a retreat or to resort or anywhere where you can discuss the futuristic idea, right? So the rule of the futuristic idea, right, or rule of the futuristic business for your customer, you need to play it in such a way that right people are across the board, right? So obviously, if you wanted to start the discussion, right, there needs to be an icebreaker process in place because people are not willing to. Not everyone will be, upfront, to come up with the ideas, or not everyone will be, the first to raise the, hand and say, "Hey, I got this idea. I got this idea," because sometimes people are not very comfortable, right? It's a human nature, right? It's nothing wrong with that. It depends from person to person. You might have a team where no one wants to start first. Can happen, right? So it's very important to have an icebreaker round in place so that people can start contributing, right? Now, I'm going to obviously teach this stuff from the trailhead, right? They cover a lot of important um, considerations and as well as important points they mentioned here. I don't really want to mention that in the slide, right? So obviously, when you start a meeting, right, when you start a meeting to discuss a futuristic idea or futuristic ideas for your customer, right? So you obviously wanted to say, hey, these are the rules of the play. This is exactly what we're gonna do, right? You might have to start. Okay, let's form a group, right? You guys will come up. We're gonna play this role. You guys gonna play this role, and let's work together to see what we're coming up, right? And then it's like headlines, not stories. And also, it's very important to understand, right? When you are in a big room or when you are having a meeting with a big team, it's always important to acknowledge that everyone knows their part very well, right? Otherwise, what will happen is that you start explaining everyone level of expertise. It's not going to take ages. Imagine if you got 100 people, right? So if you got 100 people in a room and everyone start talking about, oh yeah, I got this, I got that, I got to figure this out, I got this, right? It's not going to work out, right? It's going to end up freaking wasting almost an hour or 2 hours of your time, which is not really great. Okay. So obviously, so the first thing we can do, right? You can obviously state something, right? Or you can start something. Hey, these people are expert in their own domain, so let's move on, right? I mean, I've done a couple of eyes. Excuse me, my apologies. So I've done a couple of icebreakers around. So in the past, and it's fun, right? You make your team comfortable. You make them aware exactly what they're going to talk. And eventually someone will raise their hand and say, hey, I got an idea. How about we do that? Okay, that's how we started, right? So, and also it's very important you to let your team know that no idea is a bad idea, right? Because sometimes people have a fear. What if I raise an idea? What if I sound silly? What if everyone thinks nobody cares, right? At the end of the day, you're in for to solve a problem, right? So as a CEO, or as a person who organizing this event, just you need to let people know that right, no idea is a bad idea. You can come up with any ideas you want, right? No one will shut you down because of your ideas. And encourage people to ask questions, right? Ask questions. If someone says, oh, I have this idea, ask them, okay, can you tell me about that? Can you tell me about more? So the key rules of icebreakers are pretty simple, right? You should encourage people to ask questions, right? And there is no such thing called bad questions, right? Everyone is encouraged to ask any questions. The key point is to make sure you make people comfortable, right? And when people are in a comfort zone, that's where they come up with the best solution as well as the best ideas, right? So this is just an example of the Duke Ellington. Is a musician and composer. To be honest with you, I might sound stupid here, but I have never heard about this person before. So my apologies. Amy and me must be thinking, is this guy living under a rock? Well, my choice of music is a bit different. Like I'm more into Latin music, so I listen to a different kind of genre when it comes to music. So I don't really, yeah. So yeah, just my apologies if if you're a fan of this person and say, oh, how come this guy don't know about this person? So yeah, like I said, everyone has a different choice of music taste in music. All right, okay. So share your future cars, right? Obviously, when you are presenting a futuristic vision, right, you obviously need to, um, you know, tell what exactly you wanted to talk about, right, and why you exactly want to do it. You can probably bring an innovative idea, or maybe bring up a fancy slide just to talk about it, right? And you can also say, hey, this is the company vision in 15 years' time or 10 years' time. We're going to go to reach, let's say in 15 years' time, we will be the leading metaverse training providers in the planet, right? Let's say that, right? That's one statement. And then also you can take an example of the other companies, how they're trying to solve the problem, and give some inspiring, case study from a different businesses, right? Maybe XYZ company has done that, and they have achieved this much sales over the course of time. You can do different things, right? Just to do the and yeah, and then at the end of the day, it's all about putting yourself in the customer's shoes, right? When I'm in this scenario, I wanted to do this so I can achieve that, right? So like as you can see here. So always try to put yourself in a customer scenario and then say, okay, if I'm going to do this, if I when I'm in this in a situation and I wanted to do this and so I can achieve that. Like let's give you an example here. When I'm traveling with my family, I wanted to make sure that we have everything we need for the kids so that we don't have to buy things when we get there. Pretty simple, right? It covers three parts. So, yeah, I mean, that's how you can do an ideate in the teams, right? I mean, it's a pretty simple concept if you look if you think about it, but at the same time, most of the people, when they try to have a meetings, they get it wrong, right? And then they wonder, oh, why my team is not responding? Why my team is not coming up with the new ideas? Well, because if you think about this way, right? Most people have fear, right? The fear in the sense not because they're not skilled, nor because they're talented, or not because they're talented. They feel that what if their ideas look silly to everyone, right? And they don't want to be in that scenario. So if you make them clear that no idea is a bad idea, you're open to express anything you like. That will give them a confidence, and that's how the innovation happens, right? And that's the kind of culture I believe in, right? And like when a person is in a comfort zone, the person will think beyond the bar, beyond the comfort zone, and that's where innovation happens. So yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to cover. I understand that this is more a theory, but this certification is more theory, I'm afraid. So but at the same time, I hope you guys are having fun because a lot of things, what you're going to learn here, you can use it in your day to day, stuff you do. Not necessarily have to do with the Salesforce, but even different tech, right? It's applicable to any tech stack, right? So that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Tuesday. Adios.